Hello YouTube, it's Michael here. I just did my Xbox 360 update video. I'm going to do my PS3 right now, and I'll probably do my Wii a little bit later today. But I've actually been slowing down quite a bit on my PS3 collecting. Just most of the games that I'm looking for, that I've kept an eye out for, I usually try to pay under $20 for, and a lot of them are stuck at the $20 price range. When they lower in price, I'll get some more, or when they do the buy two get one free, stuff like that. So, but I picked up 14 games from a PS3. I'll show them off. Some of these games are rare, some of these aren't. I'll try to give you a price point and whether or not I think they're rare for each of them. This first one I'm showing off is called the Best of PlayStation Network. I don't think it'll be particularly rare. It might be a little collectible down the road, seeing that all these games were DLC games for the PlayStation Network, and they're all on disc. So that's kind of a cool thing. I always prefer physical games over digital games. The four games are When Vikings Attacks, Sound and Shapes, Tokyo Jungle, and Fat Princess. Now, I've actually got two of these downloaded. I picked them up on a Steam sale, but Fat Princess I don't have, and Sound and Shapes I don't have either. So, but just to have them on disc is kind of cool. It wasn't expensive. It was $8. Like I said, I'm not sure how rare or collectible this will be down the road. I actually don't see that many copies of this, so I don't know how well this sold on disc, because everyone might have already downloaded them. So, but maybe that's one to keep an eye out for. The next game I'm going to show, someone had mentioned this on an earlier video of mine. I just picked it up when they had mentioned it. It was called Clive Barker's Jericho. I had this game well in the first 3 years that I owned a PS3. And it's an older game. It's a first-person shooter. If you don't know anything about Clive Barker, he does a lot of horror stuff. He did horror movies back in the 90s. I'm not sure what he's done in recent times, but it's an interesting first-person shooter. If you like first-person shooters, it's got a horror element to it, kind of like Fear. But I thought it was an okay game. It's not like it's an older game, so you're gonna get past some of the graphical power and stuff, but it's not bad. I think it was like $3 or something used at GameStop. So if you can find it used complete, I know this one isn't in the best shape, at least the case isn't, but it's complete. I'd add it to a collection for that price. This next one I just picked up like the other day. It's not expensive. I don't know how rare it is. Again, it's another early release. It's made by id Software, the same people who did like Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein, the old first-person shooters for PC. They pretty much created the first-person shooter genre at the time, at least. And someone else would have created it if it weren't id. But this is called Enemy Territory Quake Wars. It's a Quake game. I have always enjoyed the Quake games. I haven't put this in or anything, but this was 99 cents. So it was all stickered up. It had all these like yellow old GameStop stickers on them, and those are a pain in the ass to get off. So, but I figured for 99 cents, it was worth it. So, this next game, someone actually commented on about, and I hadn't heard of it, so I did a little research on it. And when I found out that it was a Amazon exclusive, and it's only on PS3, I knew that this game would probably become collectible a little bit rare down the road. And that's called Jojo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle. And it's a 2D fighting game. This one's sealed. I picked this one up sealed on eStarland, brand new for $20. That's the best price I could find for it. GameStop sells this used for $40. Used. So I actually want to play this game. From the gameplay footage I've seen of it, it looks pretty cool. The art style is really cool. So I'd pick it up. I pick it up now before it increases in price. It's not going to be a Class of Heroes 2G type thing, but it'll definitely become rare down the road. Hey, Vladimir. You don't show up that often. I picked up this one because I played it before, back when this was like $50 used and stuff. I don't normally keep games that are $50 used in that price range. I wait till they lower. This was like $17.99. It might have been a little bit less, but it's called Kingdoms of Alamur Reckoning, and it's a RPG from the minds of like Todd McFarlane, who created Spawn, R.A. Salvatore. It's an interesting RPG. It's an action RPG. It kind of reminds me of Fable, but it's deeper. I actually enjoy this game a lot. I see copies of this game all the time, so I'm not sure how rare it is. I just think it's a good RPG. You know, if you can pick this up for $10 or something like that, I definitely would. I highly recommend it. Like I said, I had a lot of fun playing this game. That's why I bought it again. So, this next game is called Legendary. I don't see this game that often. I don't think it sold very well. It wasn't well received by critics and gamers alike. But it was $2 at GameStop. That's why I picked it up. It looked interesting. I know of the guy that I used to own a game store with. His name was Mike also, but he picked this up and he actually said he had a lot of fun with it. And you know, that's kind of one of the games that I've been keeping an eye out, but you know, waiting for it to go down or looking for it complete, and I just happened to be the right time, $2. So this next game I actually think will become a little rare down the road. I don't think it'll become expensive. It's hard to find now. Like if you look online, you can find anything online. That's how I found it. I actually found it for like $8 brand new on Amazon, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not, because from what I've seen and what I've been told, this game isn't very good. But it's an Access System game. It's an action game, which is kind of weird for them. It's called Magus. Now, thing is, ask your local GameStop where the nearest copy of this is. When I do that just to get an idea of how rare games are sometimes, because if they tell you there isn't one within a 200, 400, 600 mile radius, you might consider that game pretty hard to find, seeing how many GameStops there are out there. And they can also look online, see if it's in their online store, which is a national store. A lot of times they won't have it, but this one was really hard for me to find. And I think it'll become rare down the road. Like I said, this one's brand new. I'm not actually that interested in playing it. If I can find one used, I might pick one up, but it's just one of those games I think I bought for the collectability of it, but I don't think this will become anything special down the road. I do think it's rare though. This next game I picked up because it was cheap and it was a PlayStation exclusive. It's got some of the old PlayStation mascots like Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Sly. Those were like some of the best kids games I sold when I owned a game store. But I never really got into those games. I know they're great games, but I bought this one because it's kind of a mashup of it. It says it's for PlayStation Move, but I think you can play it without PlayStation Move. But I think it was like $5, so that's why I picked it up. I don't think it's anything special either. I know the Move didn't sell particularly well, so maybe this might be a little collectible down the road, seeing that it's got all the mascots of PlayStation and stuff, so we'll see. This next game, I think is actually will be kind of rare. The High Prices games always kind of stay collectible a little bit. This one's an interesting one because it's called Time Crisis Raising Storm, like raising, like R-A-Z-I-N-G. It includes Time Crisis 4, Dead Storm Pirates, and I think another Time Crisis game, if I'm not mistaken. But I actually have a GunCon 3. A lot of people don't. You don't need the GunCon 3. You can have the PlayStation Move, or I think you can use a controller with it. But I think the true Time Crisis experience is with a GunCon. Whether it be GunCon 1 for PS1 or GunCon 2 for PS2, or the arcades. The arcades are simply amazing. But I've always enjoyed Time Crisis games. This was $10 used. I don't find this game that often anymore, so I picked it up. I'm not sure if there's a big box set for this. I know almost all the Time Crisis had these huge box sets boxed with their GunCons, and I am not exactly sure if this was one of them, but I would keep an eye out for this one. I don't think it'll shoot up in price that much. I think it might double over time. It's about $20, and if you have the GunCon, it'll be worth a lot more, but we'll see. That's how all the other Time Crisis games have gone. This next game is called Tarak, and it's an older game. It's a dinosaur shooter. If you remember Tarak 1, Tarak 2, I think were for Nintendo 64. They were first-person dinosaur killer type shooters. I enjoyed those games with the 64, so that's why I picked this up. This was, I think it was $6 or $7 used. It was, I thought it was a cool game. It might be a little more collectible down the road. It's kind of held its value pretty well at if it's $7, it's a pretty old game. So most of these older games go for way less than $5 now. So it kind of held its value compared to some of the other ones. So we'll see how that one turns out. This one's called Twisted Metal. People that are fans of PlayStation should know Twisted Metal. It's got a dual-sided cover sheet, which I think is always cool. This says it's, well, I thought it said it was a limited edition or something on it somewhere. I'm not sure how limited it really was. But it was only on PlayStation. People were a little disappointed with this iteration of Twisted Metal. I haven't played this one. Actually, I found this at a flea market for $2, so that's why I picked it up. I think they sell it used for $20 at GameStop. I don't know if it's worth $20, but I'm not sure how collectible this will be down the road. I know it's just expensive now because of its nostalgia and popularity of back in the day. But that's Twisted Metal. This next one I was really happy to find, and I'm going to say this game is rare now, and that's Under Defeat HD Deluxe Edition. I don't know if they made a regular edition for this game. I know Under Defeat was originally a Dreamcast shmup, top down, like 1942, 1943, and it's got a helicopter too, kind of in the same vein and stuff, but it's a really cool game. If you don't know anything about this game, you should look it up. This is about the only shmup I can think of for the PS3. And this one came with a soundtrack and stuff. This one's sealed, like I said. I bought it for 20 bucks new at a vintage game shop. They said they had a bunch of them, and they just recently sold out of them. And I recently looked up this game. It's $50 with shipping. It's the cheapest one I could find. So I picked this up now. I couldn't find one there was no GameStop within like a 700-mile radius that had this game. So that says a lot. And it's like, I think it's $15 used at GameStop if you can find it. But I highly recommend, like, if you like shmups, if you want something different on the PS3, get this game now. If you want something collectible, I mean, this has got a lot going for it. Not only is it a rare game, it's a fun game. It's got an extra soundtrack with it if you can find it. It's just a great game, in my opinion. This next game I just picked up recently. It's called Warriors Legends of Troy, and it's made by Koei before the Tecmo Koei merge. And I do find that Tecmo, Koei, Atlas, some Sega, that they're just brands that I find that hold their value and stay rare. I think Koei's one of those. This game used to be $25, like, I want to say 7-8 years ago, and this is still $14. So that shows me that it holds its value pretty well. I think it's a gladiator type game. You know, if you're familiar with Rise or 300 or something like that, it'll remind you a little bit of that kind of story. But it's an action game. I thought it was a little slow paced, to be honest with you, but I do think this will become collectible, a little more rare down the road. I don't see many copies complete now. Like I said, it's $15 at GameStop, which isn't a cheap game. I consider a cheap game anything $5 or under. So, and like I said, it's kind of an older game. I do think it supports trophies, which I think it was one of the earlier trophy games that you could get. So, but if something doesn't support trophies, you know it's an older game. And this last game I'm going to show, I was really happy to find this too. It's called Yakuza 3. If you know anything about the Yakuza games, they're usually only on PlayStation. They usually port them over from Japan. Some of them we haven't gotten, but I like these games. If you like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, they're just like Japanese Grand Theft Auto. They're kind of fun. I will say the third and fourth one are pretty hard to find. I'm not sure, because like that website I use, Starland, they actually sell these new for like $20, which I think is actually a hell of a deal. if I don't know where they get their new games and stuff, but they get a lot of rare new games and they sell them for cheap. So if you're a sealed collector, I look at East Starland. They have a lot of like stuff on PS1, PS2, PS3, you know, fifth, sixth, seventh generation that are brand new that are cheap. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. But these two games will become rare. There's one called Yakuza Dead Souls that I think is a little more common, but again, it's Japanese Grand Theft Auto. They're fun games, but Yakuza 1, Yakuza 2 for PS2 are pretty collectible now. So, but that's my my update video for my PS3 stuff. Like I said, I know I haven't gotten a whole lot. I'm